Welcome back. Obesity isn't just a personal health issue. It can be a generational challenge shaped by family habits, environment, and cultural influences. Joining us again is Dr. Manoj Bhagwandeen, who will help us unpack how families can work together to build healthier habits. Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks. Glad to be back.
Listen, I heard the conversation that you had earlier with Bridget, and there were certain things that was very interesting for me in terms of how do you identify obesity. But now we are more talking about obesity within a family because that plays a generational dynamic.
Yep.
So then let's start with how big of a role does genetics play when it comes to obesity?
So I think it's important to understand that, yes, genetics certainly is a factor, but it is not the only or the predominant factor. Our genetic tendencies to become overweight or obesity is certainly there, but it can be modulated based on our lifestyles, our lifestyle choices, what we choose to do and what we choose not to do. So yes, it is an important factor, but it can be modulated. So one should not assume that because I come from a line of overweight or obese people that I am automatically going to follow that trend, because it can be actively modulated. And I think this is something that we all need to understand.
In essence, what does it mean? Does it mean that it can be broken from generation to generation, or does it just mean we have to now actively watch what we eat, how we eat, when we eat? What does it mean in that regard?
Well, actually, both are correct. So it can be broken and it can be modified, it can be influenced. And I think a lot's got to do with how we live our current lifestyle. So yes, there may be that predisposition or that tendency to become obese, but if we choose better options, we live healthier lifestyles, especially with regards to diet, movement, exercise, controlling stress, sleeping properly, etc., which we now scientifically know to be factors that positively influence not just obesity, but our overall health and well-being. These can be changed from one generation to the other. So the challenge really is, are you going to be that person in your lineage that's going to make that change?
I know of so many parents who want to help their kids, but they are in that same cycle themselves, don't know how to get out of it and don't know how to identify.
Yep.
So I think the question more is, if you are a parent that's caught in that cycle, how do you even teach your kids or make your kids aware of this?
I think the most important thing is that you've got to start with what we would call baby steps. Don't try to do it all overnight. This is not something you're going to achieve overnight. It's going to involve small but consistent and determined steps. In other words, when you go shopping, go with a list. Don't take an empty trolley and then just load as you go in, where the kids are shouting for this and dad wants this and mom wants that. Go with a predetermined list. On that list, make sure you choose healthy options. Make sure you choose whole foods. Make sure you choose fruit and veg as opposed to processed foods. That's a simple way to start. I know there's this argument that healthy options are usually more expensive. They need not be. Start your own home garden. Don't go to the local takeaways to shop. It's much cheaper, a lot healthier, and far more convenient to actually prepare your meals at home, as long as there's electricity, obviously. These are little steps, Yeah. So start small, make a concerted effort, lead by example, make sure the kids are not indulging in all these sugary and processed foods.
Yeah.
Give them water, give them a homemade smoothie instead.
Do you think we should get schools involved, health sectors, lawmakers? Do you think we need to focus on more awareness through schools and those sectors?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that, definitely not in my mind. This is where the crux of our efforts should be. What I think is the environment needs to be changed. So in other words, it should be a lot more convenient and easier for us to access healthy options, whether it's diet, whether it's having access within a school environment of a proper playground, proper sporting equipment, subsidized gyms, make public gyms available. These are not far-fetched ideas, and it is the solution to what we as South Africans are facing as an increasing challenge, especially when it comes to the burden of healthcare and quality of life of individuals. And it's going to manifest in every sphere, whether it's in the home environment, the work environment, or in our social structures.
Sir, Thank you very, very much.
Thanks,
and I
Emma.
think these are conversations that we should have more often, and as I said, definitely on a national level.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
This conversation has provided valuable insights into breaking generational habits, and while change starts at home, it's essential for parents, schools, and policymakers to collaborate in creating a healthier future for our children.